have, well, let's say an EKG. EKG, let's take the circle again. This is the circle of my body, this is an EKG. So on the EKG, you have again right and left, you have lead 1, lead 2, and then something down here, lead 3 on the foot. When they do an EKG, they do what they call a 12 lead. So those are your limb leads on the thing. And then you have AVR, AVL, and AV foot, so F. Okay. So those are the primary leads. Okay. Then you have other ones. The heart in the body is, the right side's a little thinner than the left, and it's turned a little bit like that. So this is your two-dimensional plane. But we talked about a three-dimensional world. So through here, you can take another plane that goes this way, one like that. So now you can look at the heart in 3 dimensions. Therefore, they put leads on here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And that lets you look at the heart electronically in different ways. Any questions on that? Now, Jack talked about a multimeter, wasn't it? Okay. And I said there's all kinds of meters. What do you want to measure? You want to measure a car battery, you measure the drone battery, which is micro compared to macro, or do you want to measure the heart, which is what we're talking about. So basically here in the EKG, that's kind of your standard thing that you see in EKG. This is p-qrs-t wave. They call it QRS wave. So this is what you're going to see, and I gave you a handout that's got that out there. And this is what happens now anytime this works. This here drives that. So this is your atrium, this is your whole heart, and this is repolarization. So I'm just going to give you a couple examples of things that can go wrong. Okay? If you don't have this, you have that. What would you think that is? Anybody know enough? That's fibrillation. Instead of contracting, it's not. You're going like nice, so fibrillate. You're going to die. Okay? Atrial fibrillation, you probably won't. But this is when they take those heavy-duty shockers, put them on your chest, and give you so many volts that you're going to jump out of your pants. Anyway, that would be atrial fibrillation. Yeah.
This is a little bit off the subject,
Okay.
but I've always wanted to know what is on blood pressure, the systolic and the diastolic?
Yeah.
What are we talking about there?
Okay, I don't want to get too far off, but it's basically electronics. It's good because most of the examples, it's easier to understand electronics by water, using a water system. So basically, and we've gone over this before, Jack, to some extent, this is your tank, right? You look outside, you'll see tanks all over, okay? You've got something coming out here, coming out here. Anyway, your water is in here, right? Okay, and then you've got all that pressure coming down, and then it's going to come out a pipe here, okay? And then it's going to come out here, and let's say you got a screw valve on there. This is your resistance, which is the next class we're going to have, okay? Then, when it comes out, and it go down the river, that's your current. current's gonna be faster here, slower here, right?
Yeah.
Okay, now what was your question?
Well, I don't understand what they indicate, like the higher number over the lower number. I don't.
Okay. The higher number is a systolic. For example, let's take 120 over 90. Okay? So think about the water pressure now with gravity. Okay? The heart is going to push something. So it's pushing hard, right? Now the heart is relaxing. Now you got the diastolic. So when you're pushing, relax. Pushing, relax. Pushing, relax.
Okay.
So this one is the one that's most important for your health. This one can go high for a lot of reasons. This one you don't really want to go high. If that goes high, somebody's going to be worried. The doctor will. But that's, if you want to call it the resting pressure.
Yeah. Okay.
The other one is a pressure when the heart is working, the working pressure.
Thank you.
But again, just remember, this one is the important one. They're both important, obviously, when you have high blood pressure, but they usually diagnose high blood pressure by that one there. Okay. Yeah. Got one more example. When this let's say that goes like that. That obviously is not the other ones, right? The one we just had is the one you want to see. This here means something wrong too. Probably myocardial infarction. This is in the contraction part of the heart. Remember now, this is atrial, ventricle, repolarization. So this is where a multimeter you kind of have to decide, because in addition to, and it doesn't matter if you're a computer or whatever it is, this is what you brought up last week, an oscilloscope. So oscilloscope is nothing but a multimeter, but instead of taking a spot pressure, voltage 120 volts right now, you're going to take it over a period of time. Okay. 0 second, 1 second, 2 seconds, and so on. So now you're going to take it here, and you're going to have lots of these. So not only one. If you look there on the third sheet I gave you, you'll see mine on Saturday. You have one of those? No? No, maybe that's it. Oh, no. Here, I didn't have tomorrow. So now what's important, and this will be broken up into little boxes. So if you look at the sheets I've given you there, this is 0.5, this is 0.1 millivolt. So this goes up here a certain height. So they measure that, okay? They measure this here. So this measurement here has to be a regular rhythm. So we need another one here. If you don't have another one here, there's something wrong over a period of time. So that's what you call arrhythmia. No, it's not a regular rhythm, but you've got a pulse, but you've got an arrhythmia. It's not operating on time. That could mean that there's something wrong in one of these nodes. The AV node is not putting out the signal right. The cells are tired. Maybe you had too much alcohol. Drug. You hear a lot of movie stars who die on drugs. They really are killing their body. Okay? And then what happens is they don't swallow, they get their saliva down, they suffocate themselves. Most of it goes from what the body does to the heart and so on. Okay, so you see the sheet there where it says one, micro, one.
Microvolt.
Yeah. This, no, these sheets here. Look at there, and it'll say a measure of the time in seconds and how high it is. Here's how high it is in the seconds.
Yeah, okay.
One of these has got the duration. Oh, here's your amplitude. Well, Jack, last week you asked a fairly interesting question. Is on these sine waves in the electromagnetic spectrum, are they fixed? Right? Let me put it back to you. Based on what we talked about today, are they fixed?
Apparently not.
No. Okay, let's go back to the sheet. If you want red at 650 nanometers, it's got to be 650 nanometers, right? If you want something red, for the eye to see red, it cannot be 400 nanometers,
No.
or it's going to be what? It's going to be blue.
Right.
Or down in the other range down. Well, let's say 500, right? So they are fixed. What isn't fixed is how fast you send it, how fast you can run. And that's how many sine waves per what we're talking about here. This is where the meter come in, a regular meter, not a static meter. Meter has got a running time on it, an oscilloscope, ECG, or anything like it. How many of these sine waves are you going to have per, let's say you're going to have 1,000 of them. We're talking about gigahertz and megahertz. But the frequency, the length of it is absolutely fixed.
So then a person who would be exercising or something like that, they would come closer together. They would be more rapid than someone
Okay,
who's sitting.
yeah, we're back to here now, yeah. What controls the heart is your brain. Okay. Your brain can control the heart, but it's got a heart, it's got a mind of its own. No matter what the brain says, it's going to do something. But the heart can control it in your adrenal glands. So when your adrenal glands, what we call the fight or flight syndrome, you have to decide if you're going to fight somebody or you're going to run, right? So in physiology, they call it the fight or flight syndrome. It's going to send a hormone out, adrenaline. You've all heard that. I get my adrenaline rush by jumping out of airplanes. Yeah, but some people need that adrenaline rush, I guess. But I wouldn't jump out of an airplane. But anyway, if it sends adrenaline, or if the brain says, I need more oxygen. Okay? So when you start running, your muscles are going to say, you're overworking me. I need more gas. I need more something or other. So the heart is going to be told to what? Speed up. So let's go back here. 70 to 100. So you're going to go up here, and now your pulse is going to be 120. So now instead of this here, you're going to have more of them. Okay? And that's called tachycardia. And this comes to us, our army, from the French army, aerobics. When you do exercise, everybody should go out and do aerobic exercise. So even dancing, folk dancing, you take your pulse before, you calculate your weight, your age, and so on, And then that gives you what your heart rate you should get up to. So that means you should do this dance or this exercise for 10 minutes to get your heart rate up. Okay? So, and then when you're there, then you let it slow down. We call it aerobic exercising for the heart, lung, and shaking. And vice versa, when you're sleeping, well, like a bear hibernates during the winter, the pulse rate's going to go down. If you're a very good athlete, talk about very good, like these Olympic athletes and so on, and the girls, for example, who they lose all their fat tissue and so on, their heart rate may go down and have bradycardia. Over 40 beats a minute, 50 beats a minute, 60 beats a minute. If I
That's
have
not a
40
good thing, is it?
Pardon?
That's not a good thing, is it?
It is for them.
Oh, okay.
It's not for you and I.
No.
No. This is why, in medicine we do what we call signs, symptoms, and tests. So if the EKG shows the bradycardia, it's got a normal QR wave, and all the other leads are normal, and this is a young gymnast from the Olympics, it's good. Okay. In other words, they have developed their heart, just like your weightlifters, so much muscle. They have muscles all over the place, and they've developed those over and above what is normal. So yes, bradycardia can be normal.
Huh?
Okay.
Oh, I'm enjoying it.
Actually, I got one.
Yeah.
I should have asked earlier.
Jack, come sit in the chair. Yeah.
Tell me about AFib. You can't die from AFib, correct?
Well, what he's talking about, this was in the newspaper. That's what started a lot of this when Roy and I